Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Jimmy Dore.
Thank you very much. Yay! All right. Yes. You're very sweet. Thank you very much. You know, I like doing comedy because you get to meet so many different kinds of people. I was telling jokes in Las Vegas a few months ago, and after the show, I was signing some CDs, and a couple came up, and they're really nice. And I was like, hey, what do you guys do for fun around here besides the comedy? And they go, we're swingers. And I was like, you mean... They go, no, we like to have sex with other people. And we want to know if you want to have sex with us. I was like, you want me to have sex with both of you? They go, yeah. I was like, okay. I mean, they bought a CD, I don't want to be a dick. And they were nice guys. The point is, so I'm in my rental car in the parking lot of the Tropicana Hotel, and I'm trying to turn on the Tropicana Avenue. So I'm gonna turn this way, so I'm looking this way, waiting for a break in traffic, and I don't realize there's a guy walking this way, right? So I'm inching out, and he's walking, and I hit him, right? But I didn't knock him down, but I heard it was like, I was like, oh, shit. I didn't know how to handle it, so I just rolled down my window and I go, I'm sorry. The guy looks at me, he goes, yeah, you're sorry after you hit me. That's how it works. Can't say I'm sorry before I hit you. That would show criminal intent. Hey, look, there's that guy. Sorry for what? You'll see. And I love my dog. I got to tell you guys that I don't understand people that don't like dogs. You ever meet those people? My friend goes, I don't like dogs. I was like, what the fuck? He goes, no, I'm allergic to dogs. I was like, oh, too bad for you. You're allergic to fun, love, and good times. Because that's all little doggy's gonna give you. I wish my dog could talk. Why can't they talk? God damn it. They know what you're saying. They're just like the Viet Cong, they know. I was thinking if my dog could talk, I think the first thing he'd say is, oh, I can talk. Let's get one thing straight, Jimmy. I know I'm a good boy. Why do we talk to our dogs like they're hard of hearing foreigners? You would never talk to a person like that. Hey, Mike, you're a good boy. Thank you. Stay away from me. Well, my dog is a rescue dog, so his personality is already kind of prefabbed. I don't have much influence. I like to, you know. He knows I'm a pushover, so when I ask him to do something, I ask him to sit, and he'll do it if he feels like it. You know, I'm like Brownie. I call him Brownie, by the way, because he's brown and I'm a writer. I'm like, Brownie, sit, and he's just like, I'm like, no, Brownie, sit. I'm like, all right, here's a treat. I don't care. I'm a pushover. He's a rescue dog. So somebody told me I should take him to a dog park and socialize him. And I did. It was a bad idea. It was totally humiliating because all the other dogs are well trained, right? All the other dogs, they're like, oh, Fluffy, sit. Oh, I'll sit. Oh, yeah. I'll double sit. And of course, Brownie won't do anything I tell him, so I just decided whatever Brownie's doing, I'll just pretend like I told him to do it. It's like, that's right, Brownie, stand up tall. Stay standing, there you go. Now run around like a maniac. Nip at the kids. That's a, shit right there, shit right there. Good boy. Good boy. But Brownie got sick not too long ago, so we had to take him to the vet. And the vet tells me, he goes, you got to give your dog these pills. He goes, but I got to warn you, they don't taste good, so you got to sneak them into his treats. I was like, you know, my dog drinks out of the toilet, eats out of the garbage. He has a very broad palate. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to sneak these pills in on him. So I just put him on top of his food. And he came over and he inhaled it like I knew he would, right? He does that, but he does this. He goes, and then he goes, it's like I didn't even know dogs could do that. I go back to the vet, I go, you know, my dog will literally eat his own shit. But he won't eat your pills. What are you putting in these pills that taste worse than shit? Hey, I know. How about you just make the pills taste like shit? The vet says to me, with a straight face, he says, you know, if you have a problem with your dog eating his own poop, they have a spray that makes it unappetizing. I was like, you know, I have a million questions. The first one is, what kind of a maniac scientist is sitting at home going, I have to invent something that tastes worse than shit? Oh, it's a big day in that guy's life, huh? He went to scientist school. His parents are proud, huh? Hey, what are you working on, Bob? Double shit? Lifelong dream. And then let's say you did it. You pulled it off. You invented double shit. How would you know? Right? You're not gonna taste it. You gotta sneak it in on somebody. Hey, Steve, you hungry? I made some pudding. Oh, sure, I love pudding. Thank you very much. Ah! That tastes like shit. Just shit? I like to get high and watch Christian television. Anybody else? Couple people. I do. I like to watch the Faith Healers. And I watch so many, I actually have favorites. And my all-time favorite Faith Healer's got to be this guy, Benny Hinn. And Benny Hinn, he's very good at the healing. He's healing people left and right all day long. He's healing his ass off. But he himself is doing the most wicked comb-over. Which, don't you think if you could actually heal people? Would you take 5 seconds to fix your own bald spot? I mean, if you could straighten my spine, that should be a snap. And I'm not coming down on the comb-over. I'm going to do it when my time comes. I'm just saying you can't be a faith healer with a comb-over. It's like being a faith healer with a limp. Nobody's coming to your show. Hey, I'm here to heal you. Ow. Line up, I've got the gift from God damn this leg. Bobby, get my Percocets. My leg's killing me. I gotta heal these pricks. I kid him, but I think that faith healing must work. Because Benny Hinn plays to like 90,000 people at a time. They come to these huge stadiums, he just taps them on the head and they're healed. He's like, boom, I can see. Boom, little toe straightened. And I just want to go to one of those stadium shows so I can go up to him afterwards. Hey, Benny, great show. Listen, on the way home, why don't you stop by the hospital? A lot of sick people in there. Oh, that's right. You're full of shit. You know, I make fun of the religious, but I grew up Catholic myself. My parents were really Catholic, like they almost molested somebody, and they're hardcore. And I understand growing up religious. I was religious, and everybody needs something to believe in. But there's other things besides faith. I was watching the news when the Gulf oil thing happened, when BP did some nice landscaping down there, and they had this news report of these people in Alabama. They were out on the beach, and oil had been washing up on the beach in Alabama, and they did like a prayer chain to help get the oil off the beach. And that's all they did, by the way. That's it. They didn't like rent a skimmer and then do a prayer chain, or put up buoys and then do a prayer chain, or get informed and vote correctly and then do a prayer chain. That's it. Just a prayer chain. And the reporter asked the guy in charge, he says, what do you want to happen from this prayer chain? And he said, oh, we want God to come down and take the oil off our beach. And I was like, yeah, if that doesn't work, why don't you call Aquaman? See if he'll help. It doesn't work like that. Prayer doesn't work like, you're asking God to just suspend physics. Hey, if it works like that, could you pray to God that he suspends gravity for 5 minutes so I can get that piano out of my fucking basement? I was doing that joke one time in Cleveland, and I had a lady, there was a lady, I did that joke and I heard this real loud noise over here, and I looked and there was a lady putting on her coat. I don't know how you make noise doing that, but she did it. And I said, what are you doing? She goes, you're going to hell. That's what she said, just like that. And I was like, if you really thought I was going to hell, wouldn't you be nicer to me now? If you really thought I was going to burn in a lake of fire for eternity, wouldn't you be like, oh, you're going to hell? Do you deliver bad news like that to everybody? Right? Do you go up to people in the emergency room after a motorcycle accident? You're gonna be crippled! Anyway. I grew up, you know, I live a very sheltered life. I never met a Jewish person until I got into comedy, that's true. Not that I knew of, anyway. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, I lived right in the heart of a Jewish neighborhood, and I had lots of Jewish friends. And I was at lunch with one of my Jewish friends, his name was Andy, and he brought a friend along. And I said, hey, what's your friend's name? He says, oh, this is Steve Rosenthal. And I go, oh, he's Jewish. He doesn't even look Jewish, which I know now. You're not supposed to say that. And my friend got mad a little bit. He goes, well, what does a Jew look like to you, Jimmy? And I was like, I don't know. I live in a Hasidic neighborhood now, and they're always wearing the disguise. I'm like, I don't know why those guys don't rob a bank every day. The cops show up, what do you look like? I look like fucking everybody around here. If you see ZZ Top, stop them. But I grew up in a blue-collar neighborhood. It's really blue-collar, you know, racist. And I come from a dumb family, right? Anybody else? If you come from a dumb family, you know it. Yeah. Yeah. Because normal family, normal people, when someone learns something new, they're like, oh, you learned something new. Teach it to me. I would also like to grow. But not in my family. If someone knew something they didn't, they got defensive and overreacting. You know, like here's an example. The most recent thing that happened is one of my brothers started their own company, and we're all sitting around. And he goes, you know, I figured out I can make just as much money with 5 employees as I used to make with 6. And I go, hey, that's called the law of diminishing returns, I think. And my dad turns around and he goes, call it whatever you want. It's about making money, stupid. And that's my dad, right? As if to say, look at this guy. First he gets a book, then he reads it, retains that information, and then shares it at an appropriate moment like an asshole. And you know, you're from a dumb family, you just have to accept it. But like I have a cousin, he's always pretending he's not, you know, dumb and everything. Like I caught him one time, we were talking, I forget what about, he goes, yeah, well, I learned that when I was studying for my doctorate. I learned that. I was like, oh, you have a doctorate? And he was like, no, but I was studying for one. You can't just do that. You can't just say when I was studying for my doctorate if you never got it and then people think you got it. We're all studying for our doctorate. I'm thinking of my dissertation right now. You can't say that. What kind of bull. It's like, you know, when I was training for the Olympics. Oh, you're in the Olympics? No, but I trained. And then you take a dumb family and you add alcoholism, which is a nice mix. My grandpa was an alcoholic, right? Although my family said he's just a big drinker, which is nice. Hey, there's not a fucked up thing there. And then my dad didn't drink at all. Like he stopped drinking cold, right? Like he didn't drink at all. So, but he didn't go to like the therapy or AA. He just stopped drinking, and that's what they call a dry drunk, right? And what that means is my dad still had all the anger and rage of an alcoholic, but we never got to enjoy any of the fun drunk times. That was a real blast. Yeah, my dad had 2 emotions, angry and not angry yet. You know, and that, you got to enjoy that when it's, I would call my brothers on the backyard, hey, come on in the house, Dad's not angry yet, let's enjoy it. And we got hit and everybody got hit. You know, we grew up poor, I don't know if you know, but poor people beat the fucking shit out of each other. That's how it works. And you know, my family, like, you know, they cling to their ignorance. And like most Americans, they cling to their ignorance. Although I did see a poll the other day about the NFL and how they've handled their scandals. And the poll said that 60% of Americans agreed that the NFL has handled their recent scandals poorly. And I was like, okay, that's the majority, that's good. And then I thought about it, and I was like, wait a minute, that means 40% of Americans thinks that the NFL is handling it A-okay. Like if you had 100 people in a room and you split the room, almost half the room would be like, yeah, NFL, that's a template for how to handle a scandal. Even the NFL doesn't think the NFL has handled it correctly. But half of America, there you go. And then I went on Facebook, and people were talking about, and that's the beauty of Facebook, right? You find out that you really don't like your friends. You're like, oh, I didn't know you were an asshole. You always seem so nice. And this one guy had a status. We're talking about the Adrian Peterson, right in the NFL. He's like the biggest, best player in the NFL. And he whipped his 4-year-old son and his genitals with a stick. It's not a big deal. He's a nice guy. So I go on Facebook, and people are talking about it. And this one guy had a status. He goes, I'm glad my parents beat me, kept me out of prison. I was like, you ever been to prison? Oh yeah, full of people who just weren't hit enough. Bunch of coddled motherfuckers. Spoiled pussies. If only their parents would have beat them. Yeah, you ever ask somebody, how'd you end up in the joint, man? What'd you do? Oh, you know, it's the way I was raised. You know, my parents, they loved me, and they respected my space. And they told me that no matter what I decided to do with my life, they would support me and love me. And I don't know, just made me want to knock off a 7-Eleven and rape some motherfuckers. Yeah. Hey, well, it's good to see we're bombing in the Middle East again. I was so afraid we were going to stop. It's great. It's like 14 years straight now. 6 more years, we get a gold watch. Oh, we're good bombers. We bomb. We've been bombing straight for 14 years. We're like typical Americans. We're afraid if we take a day off, somebody's going to take our bombing job. We've been nonstop bombing. We're like the Cal Ripkens of bombing. Yeah, it's amazing. It's funny, this last round of bombing has been brought to you by Barack Obama, the Nobel Peace Prize winner. That's amazing, right? First day in office, they gave him a Nobel Peace Prize. Hey, here's your Peace Prize. I didn't do anything yet. Shut up. Shut up and take it. So he gets the Peace Prize. He immediately ramps up the war in Afghanistan, started bombing Libya, put a hit, Osama bin Laden, and now we're back bombing Syria. And that's the thing about those Peace Prizes. Nobody ever tries to win a second one. It's amazing, this latest round of bombing, John Kerry had to go out and sell it to the American people, which is really sweet. And he tried to get this, there's this group called Code Pink, you ever hear of them? So they're these, Code Pink, they're radical anti-war, right? If you could be radical, if you are for war, they'll, kill you, and, or something. And so they're totally against war in every situation, so you got to hand it to them. But John Kerry tried to get Code Pink to go along with this latest round of bombing. He said to Code Pink, I swear to God, he said, hey, Code Pink, if you're for educating women, you should be for us bombing ISIS because ISIS is against educating their women. And I was like, oh, wow. You mean you guys have some pro-women education bombs you're going to drop on them? That's amazing. Does it explode and books fly out of it? America bombed my village, and now I learned algebra and imperialism. Hey, how about we take some of those education bombs and drop them on Texas? How about we do that? I mean, that's how we fix problems. If you have a problem, we'll fix it if we could fit the solution inside of a bomb. Right? We have our education bombs, right? Maybe we should drop some water bombs on Detroit because they're turning off their water. Maybe we drop some food bombs on we can't drop food bombs. Taco Bell's got their trademark. That's amazing. But it's also amazing, too, that the same people who are bombing nonstop for 14 years tell us we're broke all the time, right? It's John Boehner, right? 2 years ago, came out on TV, he goes, we're broke, country's broke. I was like, wait a minute, this is America. We're still the richest country in the world by far, with an economy twice the size of China's, and he's telling me we're broke? Either Johnny's using a Texas math book or he's full of fucking shit. America's loaded. We always got money. Here's the thing, when they say we don't have any money and we can't afford stuff, they don't mean that we can't afford trillion-dollar wars, bank bailouts, oil subsidies, or prison construction. That's not what they mean. They mean we can't afford stuff like teachers, cops, firemen, roads, bridges, teachers, schools, anything that fucking helps you. That's what they mean. They don't have any money. Yeah. It's like, hey, you guys got all this, maybe the people could use some money because their houses are underwater and, oh no, we're broke, we got no money. Maybe we could do some money for Social Security because, no, we don't have any money. Oh, maybe do you have any money for bomb? Oh yeah, we got bomb money. Oh yeah, I keep that bomb money, keep it right next to our drinking money. Nobody ever touches that. Yeah, we always got bomb money. And if we don't, we borrowed from the Chinese, right? They financed our Afghanistan war. Isn't that nice? That's nice. We borrowed money from the Chinese and they give it to us because they're nice people. That's kind of ironic, right? We're a bunch of capitalists borrowing money from a bunch of communists so we can bring democracy to a bunch of Muslims who don't even fucking want it. America's not broke. America's richer than we've ever been. Corporations are making record profits. Corporations right now are sitting on $5 trillion, and they're not investing it back into our economy because they say they don't have confidence in our economy. And I say, if $5 trillion doesn't give you confidence, I'd try fucking dance lessons. Yeah, we got the money. We got the money. We just don't give it to people. Right? I mean, unless you consider those people are corporations, right? We give it to them. We give it to the banks. We give it to Wall Street. We've been giving $50 billion a month to Wall Street for, I don't know, the last 2 years. Just giving it to them. It's called quantitative easing. What's that, Jimmy? I'll tell you. Quantitative easing is when the government prints $50 billion a month and they give it right to Wall Street for free, and then they jam a cock up your ass. And you're like, oh, I don't think you're easing that at all. Is that a ribbed condom? Because I feel it. Yeah, that really happened. That really happened. They gave $50 billion to the banks last month. They gave it to them the month before that, and the month before that, and last year, the same time, $50 billion. Just gave it to them. So we're not broke. And let me just say this about Wall Street. This might sound indelicate, but if I could fuck my wife half as good as Wall Street has fucked our economy, oh boy. Right? I wouldn't have to go through her emails. It's gonna be weird the next time you go in and get a loan, which I don't even know if they give loans anymore, right? Hey, I'd like to buy a house. Oh, sure, just put 100% down. That's not how it works. That's how it works now. Yeah, it's amazing. You imagine the next time a banker asks you for your credit score? Asks you for your credit score. It's like Chris Christie asking you what your workout schedule is. What's my credit score? Aren't you guys, did you go bankrupt? Let's play a game called Guess One Went Bankrupt, me or you. It's you. Yeah. I'll pay my taxes. They'll give you some money. You loan it back to me, and then I'll buy some shit, okay? And maybe I'll pick up a wheelbarrow so you can put your balls in it. How about that? And nobody pushes back against Wall Street. They're too powerful. The only people who'd even tried were a bunch of unemployed people called Occupy Wall Street, right? Occupy Wall Street tried to push back. Yeah. I don't know how you guys feel about Occupy Wall Street, but is there anything more disgusting than a bunch of filthy degenerates making a perfectly valid point? So the only mistake the Occupy Wall Street people made was asking for a living wage instead of a $1 million parachute, right? That was their big mistake. And Newt Gingrich, he gave it to him. First of all, he said the Occupy Wall Street people should get a job, but first they should take a bath. Oh, it's so funny. Oh, he's such a cut-up, that Newt Gingrich, isn't he? That was really funny. I mean, not as funny as the time he punked his wife by serving her divorce papers in front of her kids in her cancer recovery room, but still, it was still pretty funny. Newt Gingrich said that the Occupy Wall Street people don't know how to make money. They don't know how to create profit. That's what he said. And I was like, yes, they do. See, the problem with the Occupy Wall Street people is they think that if you work really hard and save your money, you can have a good life. And those people are living in a fantasy land known as the past. The way you make money now, any idiot knows, is you take your jobs and you outsource them to slaves in the third world, and you create bigger profits that way. Yes, it's the new American way. We take good American jobs, turn them into shitty jobs, and then we ship them overseas. But it is amazing to me that in the middle of the biggest ass reaming this country's ever got for the military-industrial complex and Wall Street, that people still find time to be angry at the poor. Right? And I always say, if you find yourself being angry at someone lower on the economic ladder than you, pretty good chance you're being manipulated by someone higher on the economic ladder than you, okay? My brother's angry at all the people on welfare. He hates them. He thinks they're scammers. He's like, oh, all those people on welfare are scammers. I'm like, oh yeah, Danny. Those welfare people, they've rigged the system. So now they're the poorest people in the entire state. Oh, those fat cats at the bottom. So my brother watches too much cable TV, you know what I'm talking about. And he listens to too much AM radio, and they did a study, they did a survey of people on welfare to find out what stuff they owned. And it turns out they own stuff, and that drove my brother fucking crazy. I come over to his house, out of nowhere, he goes, did you know that 50% of the people in America say they're poor own a microwave? I was like, really? They think they're poor and they have the ability to warm up a Hot Pocket? That is bullshit. They're probably laughing at us over a cup of noodles right now. He goes, you know 40% of the people in America who say they're poor own a washer and dryer? I'm like, you know, Danny, often I'll get up in the morning, walk over to my dryer, and go, you know, not bad. Doing pretty good. And then my uncle chimes in. My uncle, he goes, you know, Jimmy, 50% of the people in America who say they're poor own a television. I grew up poor. We didn't have a TV until I was in high school. That's because they were invented till you're in high school. You're old. You remember when you wanted to listen to music, you had to put a bird's beak on a turntable. That's a Flintstones reference. Sure, and that's what's wrong with the kids today. The kids don't watch Flintstones. Where are they gonna get a sense of morality and a work ethic if they don't listen to Kazoo and Fred? How are they gonna know if they put too big of a rack of ribs on the side of their car, it will tip over? Yeah. My brother's angry at poor people. So he goes, yeah, that's what's wrong with our economy. Too many poor people bought houses they couldn't afford, and ruined our economy. I'm like, oh yeah, Danny, that's what happened. Bunch of people with no money and no power somehow wrestled the economy away from Wall Street and then crashed the motherfucker. Oh, if only there was a way billionaires could insulate themselves from the penniless. There's gotta be a way. If that's really what happened to our economy, poor people bought too many houses they couldn't afford. I say we take all our poor people, put them on a big ship, send them to China, tell them to start buying houses, and that's where the joke ends, because that's fucking ridiculous. It's funny, people are angry at people on welfare. They're also angry at people who work for minimum wage. Like somehow that's a crime or something, that you have a shittier job than them. I saw a comedian on the TV. He said, if you're 30, 35, 40, and you still work at a fast food restaurant, you're a loser. I was like, oh, thank God. Somebody finally stood up to the minimum wage worker and took them down a few pegs. Oh, you know how those minimum wage workers walk around like they made it? And they didn't. It's so weird. My brother's angry at teachers. Half the country was angry at the teachers just a few years ago. Remember that, Wisconsin? They wanted to screw over the teachers and cut their money. I don't understand it. My brother's so angry. He's got, oh, those teachers, they're so greedy, Jimmy. They get summers off. They're home by 3. They get every vacation. Those guys are lazy. Oh, yeah, Danny. Those teachers, why else would you become a teacher unless you're greedy? Yeah, the teachers ruined everything. They've got all our money, but they're so sneaky, they still drive junky cars just to throw us off. Hey, there goes another teacher taking a sack of money out to their Tercel. I don't get it. Barack Obama's angry at the teachers too. Because right when the economy crashed, we started firing teachers, right? They laid off teachers from coast to coast, right? Because that's what gets you out of a depression. Dumber kids. But Barack Obama's angry at the teachers too. Barack Obama says teachers' pay should be tied to their performance. Even though it's not their performance, right? It's the 40 little maniacs sitting in front of them. Right? Their parents wake the kids up at the crack of dawn, fill them with a bowl full of sugar and a fistful of Ritalin, and then they spin them around 10 times and put them on a school bus. Teach my kid math. You can't even teach your kid to shut the fuck up on an airplane. And by the way, what's with all the people bringing their kids on planes, right? Babies hate flying. Every time I get on a plane, there's like a dozen kids on the plane. I was on a plane, I was sitting down next to me, there's a lady with her baby, really cute kid. I said, how old's your baby? She said, 6 months. I go, oh, well, why is the kid flying? Does he have a job interview he has to get? She says, no, we're flying the baby to see his grandpa, because the grandpa hasn't seen the baby yet. And I was like, that's sweet. Hey, here's an idea. Maybe you send the plane ticket to the grandpa, have him fly across the country to see the baby, because they're both gonna shit their pants on the plane, but only one of them is gonna cry about it. And finally, I was about the teachers. I was watching Fox and Friends. They have a lot of friends. And Ann Coulter was on, and you know who Ann Coulter is, and she was talking about teachers, and she says that teachers don't even deserve a union. She said because they're nothing more than worthless government employees. And I was just like, oh, I wish there was a way I could show Ann Coulter that not all government employees are worthless. And then I was like, oh, I got it. I'll set her on fire. And then we'll have to call the fire department to put her out. And then she'll have an appreciation for government workers. And then I thought to myself, Jimmy, that's a little insensitive, considering that a lot of Ann Coulter's ancestors were burned at the stake. Right? During the Salem cunt trials. That's a tough joke for liberals to take. People are like, you said cunt, but it is Ann Coulter. You know, Barack Obama has let us all down in a lot of ways, but my brother hates him. He's hated him from day one. My brother calls Barack Obama Hitler. Yeah. He goes, that guy's just like Hitler. I'm like, you must be watching different documentaries. I'm like, how's he like Hitler? He goes, he's like Hitler because he's trying to take over the healthcare. You know, I'm pretty sure universal health insurance wasn't the problem people had with Hitler. I think there was a lot of stuff in front of that, Danny. Hey, did you hear Hitler invaded Poland? He's killing all the Jews. I hope I can choose my own doctor. I don't know. It's funny, you know, my brother says Barack Obama's lucky. He is lucky. He's got the Peace Prize on his first day in office. And every time he runs for office, he gets the easy opponent, right? Like the first time he ran for Senate, nobody would even run against him. Republicans had to go out and recruit a guy to run against them. They got a guy named Alan Keyes, who is also black, but happens to be fucking crazy. So the Illinois voters had a choice between the black guy or the crazy black guy, and they chose the black guy. And then he ran against John McCain, who by the time he got the nomination, he was so old, he couldn't even remember how many houses he owned. John McCain, who picked the only person who read less than he did to be his vice president. And then this last time Barack Obama ran, he got to run against Mitt Romney. Really? The worst economy in 100 years, and he gets to run against Richie Rich in a bow tie. People go, oh yeah, Mitt Romney, he gave a speech to the NAACP, they booed him. No kidding. Really, he didn't connect? You mean a billionaire born into privilege with a wife who teaches horses to dance? Didn't connect with the NAACP? You gotta be shitting me. And Mitt Romney's big problem was that he pretended he wasn't rich. That's a mistake. Americans love rich people no matter how you make your money. No matter how you make it legitimately or if you sell drugs or worse on Wall Street, it doesn't matter. If you have a lot of money, Americans think you're awesome. And he pretended he didn't. He tried to pretend he was a regular person. Mitt Romney gave a speech where he said, hey, I just bought a 3-pack of shirts from Costco. I love them. Oh, you got a 3-pack of shirts from Costco, Mitt? Those will go perfect with your handmade Italian, every fucking thing else you own. Even his wife tried to do that. She gave a speech at the convention. She said, you know, Mitt and I were in college. We lived in a garden apartment with nothing to live on except our love for each other and Mitt's trust fund. There were days we didn't know where our next Cadillac was coming from. We had a lot of pasta and tuna fish. Luckily, Mitt owned controlling shares in Bumblebee and Ronzoni. But Mitt Romney should have won because it was a bad economy, and the incumbent always loses, but Mitt Romney didn't win. And I think it was worse than him pretending he wasn't rich. It was all the other Republicans running for Senate who screwed him over by talking about rape like it was a cool thing. You know what I'm talking about? Because they're against abortion in every situation, which abortion is a great topic for a comedy show. Because they're against abortion in every situation. And then somebody says to go, oh, what happens if the woman gets raped? And they're like, oh, And then one guy, Todd Aiken, he just pulled an audible. He just, honestly, off the cuff, he goes, you can't get pregnant from a rape because nature shuts it down. And that's true, I know that's true, because I went to the same medical school he did behind the 7-Eleven. You can't get pregnant from a rape, everybody knows that. I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch The Price is Right with Bob Barker, and he used to end every show by saying, make sure your pets don't get impregnated, have them spayed, neutered, or raped. Remember he would say that? And then when I was in college, my wife and I, we didn't have two nickels to rub together, just like the Romneys. And one day we were going to have sex, and my wife says, Jimmy, I don't have any condoms. And I was like, honey, I don't have any money to buy condoms. And she was like, oh, guess you're gonna have to rape me. Now, I tell that joke not to make fun of rape, because rape's a horrible thing, but to make fun of people's views on it, right? And by the way, that's what you need comedy for anyway. You need comedy so you're not afraid of the things that scare the hell out of you. You gotta make fun of them or else they'll crush you. Nobody needs comedy to lighten their load of their evening at Disneyland. You need it for horrible stuff, which is why I'm prepared to make torture funny. Right? Well, we don't call it torture anymore because we're doing it, right? We call it enhanced interrogation techniques, which sounds nice. You're like, oh, it's enhanced? You gonna put on some mood music and a little track lighting? Not exactly. We're gonna hook your balls up to a car battery, and then we're gonna take turns drowning you. Oh, I'll take the regular. I'll take the regular interrogation. Don't make a fuss over me. I'll crack like a pretzel. And when the torture thing came up, I didn't know how to feel about it, because, I come from a dumb family, and I was like, well, if you torture people and it gets good information, maybe we should do it. And then I found out that they torture one guy 183 times. And I was like, well, if it works, what the hell did you guys forget to ask him the first 182 times? What are you asking him now? What are you still asking him? Hey, do these pants make me look fat? Have you seen my keys? Yeah, torture, huh? But Barack Obama gave a speech recently where he said that no act of terrorism, he was being tough. He goes, no act of terrorism is gonna dim the light of our values that we shine throughout the world. And he said that with a straight face and everything. He was totally pretending to believe that shit. Because, I don't know, 9/11 changed us. Not too much, just enough to order war crimes, torture, and indefinite detention without a trial. Is that a lot? I don't know, is that a lot? One act of terror, and it turned our light of our values, it kind of dimmed it a little. In fact, it turned the light of our values into a cattle prod and a waterboard, okay? Turned us into a country of war criminals who invade other countries, torture their people, and steal their resources, which means we're bullies, which really means we're pussies, which is why we turn our head at torture and we have to get felt up at the airport. Yeah, Yeah, now, because of terror, one act of terror, now everybody's got to take their shoes off and get felt up by an airport worker. Isn't that amazing, right? Or you have to take an x-ray. Is there anything safer than a government-ordered full-body x-ray performed by an airport worker? Oh, no, it's safe. They tested the machine. Oh, I'm sure the guy who installed it didn't drop it and fuck it up a little. So I'm going through the airport thing, and I got to go through the x-ray, and I'm standing there like a criminal, and I hear this. There's an anomaly on his upper right thigh. I like to call that my penis. Thanks for humiliating me publicly. And she says again, there's an anomaly on his upper right thigh. So I turn over and there's a guy going, you have to come here. There's an anomaly on your... I know, shut up, stop saying that. You're grossing me out. So he kneels down in front of me and he says, I have to pat you down with the front of my hands. Is that okay? I go, yeah. Is it okay if I fly with a wet spot? Less than 3 ounces, I know the rules. That's right. Yeah, they say the terrorists hate our freedom. But the government, they've already been spying on us and reading our emails anyway, because the terrorists want to take our freedom and the government just wants to get us used to it. Yes, when the terrorists show up, we're going to take away your privacy. Get in line. They've been doing that shit for a long time. Yeah, it's because of terror, we got rid of habeas corpus. That's right. Think about that for a second, and then I'll explain to you what that means. Habeas corpus means that the government can't lock you up without giving you a trial. They have to charge you and give you a trial. Because apparently that used to happen all the time. But Barack Obama signed a law that says the government can throw you in jail without charging you with a crime forever. Yeah, we got rid of habeas corpus, which is kind of the linchpin of democracy. Whatever, not a big deal. Yeah. The habeas corpus is in the Magna Carta. So basically, we repealed the fucking Magna Carta! And we are now operating on a liberty view from around the 1100s. People are like, well, Jimmy, you get worked up about this stuff. Wow, you really get worked up about liberty. Yeah, I'm sorry, I get mixed up about stuff. I usually save my anger for important things like, sporting events and Hollywood award shows. It doesn't matter. We're going to get whatever the corporation wants anyway. We don't have a choice in leaders. We think we have a choice in leaders. We don't. They're all bought by the same people. I'll give you an example. The last presidential election was really important. It was Mitt Romney against Barack Obama. And if Mitt Romney won, we were going to get Romney Care. But Barack Obama won, so we got Romney Care. We're going to get whatever the corporation tells us, and we're going to like it, right? And because we don't have a watchdog anymore in America, we used to be called the news media, but the criminals bought the news media, right? And now the news media just serves corporations, and journalism is out the window. They've replaced objectivity with neutrality. Now everyone's opinion is equal. No one's full of shit. Everyone deserves to be heard. Brian Williams was on Jimmy Fallon's show the other night. Brian Williams, by the way, who I love. I would love him to be a godfather of my kid. But he's just a spoke in the hub of a bullshit corporate news system that is fucking over this country, okay? And I'll give you an example. Brian Williams was on Jimmy Fallon the other night. He goes, Jimmy, I do the news the same way you do comedy. I play it right down the middle. What? I didn't know there were two sides of the truth, Brian. What he means is he repeats the talking points from Democrats and Republicans, and he calls that reporting. That's not reporting. What if he was a journalist in England where they have 3 political parties? How would you play it down the middle there? Oh, holy shit! Maybe you would just have to report back factually what's happening. Holy shit, you'd lose your job. Yeah, Brian Williams, down the middle. And that's why half the country doesn't even understand what climate change is, because I was watching the NBC News and they brought on, Brian Williams brings on a senator from Tennessee who doesn't believe in climate change, and they bring on a scientist who does. They brought on this senator from Tennessee, I don't believe in climate change, and they bring on Bill Nye, the science guy. He's got science right in his name. And then Bill Nye says, yeah, climate change is real. And then the senator says climate change isn't. Brian Williams says, look, I reported both sides. What's really true? I guess we'll never know. One of the most important issues of our time, that's how they report it. You couldn't report the sports that way. You couldn't say, hey, the Cubs played the Dodgers last night. Dodgers said they won 5-2. Cubs said they won 6-4. Who really won? I guess we'll never know. And people say the media is liberal. The media is corporate. Media is owned by 5 different companies, 6 maybe, if you include Rupert Murdoch. Rupert Murdoch owns everything. He owns everything, plus Wall Street. He bought the Dow Jones. He owns the Dow Jones. I didn't even know he could do that. I just picture Rupert Murdoch sitting in his office on a dolphin skin chair, stroking his white-haired cat with a diamond-studded collar, and then he pushes a button that burns a barrel of oil just for kicks. Media is not liberal. The media is funded by the people who buy their ads. Who buys the ads on the TV? I don't know, Walmart, oil companies, the military. Really? The media is liberal, and it's being brought to you by Walmart, oil giants, and the military-industrial complex. How the fuck did that happen? The media is not liberal. The media, NBC was owned the whole time during the Iraq War. It was owned by General Electric, which is a defense contractor. That's right. A defense contractor owned NBC through the whole Iraq War. You're telling me that there's a defense contractor that's liberal? That's a new one. Oh, yeah. You know, all those hippies who work over at General Electric, right? Making bombs out of yogurt and granola. Yeah, we're the liberal bombers. We got our organic bombs. If you think the media is liberal, you probably think George Zimmerman is a good guy, tax cuts create jobs, and science is a conspiracy. And you know, we have a bad news media, which is why we have to have people like Edward Snowden and Private Manning help us out and let us know that the government is screwing us, right? Yeah. I'm like, well, Edward Snowden, what's he about? Is he really an American? If you listen to the corporate news guys will tell you that Edward Snowden's nothing more than an anti-American creep with an narcissistic personality disorder. That's what they'll tell you. I'm like, really? He's got a narcissistic personality disorder? This is coming from guys who sit in front of a camera wearing makeup for a fucking living. Oh, that guy's a little too into himself. Can I get some more lip gloss? Yeah. But as bad as everything is with our news media and our government being bought by the same people, we still get some things right? Like we're passing medical marijuana. We passed it here in California. Right? So now we have medical marijuana. When I say we, I mean I. And let me tell you something. You get your medical marijuana license, your pot-smoking friends come out of the woodwork. Everybody wants me to buy them pot. I'm like, why don't you get your own license? They all say the same thing. Dog, I'm afraid if I do, my name will end up on some kind of a list. Yeah, it ends up on a list of people who can buy fucking pot. It's not the no-fly list. It's the yes high list. Everybody asked me to buy them pot. My friend Bill Dwyer asked me to buy him pot. Bill Dwyer, my friend Bill Dwyer, lives in Glendale. Bill Dwyer. I'm like, Bill, why don't you get your own medical marijuana license? And he said, I would, but I'm afraid my kids will find out. I'm like, oh yeah, you can't let your kids find out you're still cool. I don't have any kids, but if I did, I would like to think I'd be honest with them about marijuana. Be like, all right, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen if you smoke pot. Eventually, you're going to develop a tolerance. And then you're going to have to take a break from smoking every once in a while, just so you can get the same kind of a buzz. Now, you willing to go through that kind of a nightmare? That makes two of us. And that's the thing, it's so funny, people have internalized the corporation's view of marijuana, because, they don't, pharmaceuticals and alcohol, they don't want marijuana legal, but people have internalized that. I was at a party recently, and they were passing around a joint, and I took a puff when I passed it, because pot smokers are friendly. And I passed it to the next guy, and he does this, he goes, no thanks, man, I never touched that shit. And then he spit into a cup like a fucking animal. Whatever kind of animal spits in the cups. I'm guessing a very well-trained animal. I go, what are you doing? He goes, I chew tobacco, but I never touched that shit. And I was like, well, keep chewing, and pretty soon you'll be smoking pot, because it's the only thing that takes the edge off the chemo. It was a little dark, but I had to do it. It was a little dark. Even now, we're getting right. We're getting gay marriage right. We're doing that, right? People. And when I travel and people find out I now live in California, people always ask me about gay marriage. They're always like, how did you guys in California vote down gay marriage? I have no idea. Just had to come up with a theory. My theory is I think a lot of the gay guys themselves voted against gay marriage. Why would they do that, Jimmy? Hear me out. Yeah, I know they're gay, but they're still guys. And most guys don't want to get married no matter who they're sleeping with. Right? Let's say you're a gay guy, you don't want to get married, but your boyfriend does. You go, I'd love to marry you, I can't wait. Let me go vote. No. And then afterwards, you can act upset about it. Oh, I wanted to marry you, but they made it illegal. But then some people go the other way. Some people say, well, how do you feel about gay marriage even being on the ballot? I say, let's put regular marriage on the ballot. See if that passes. Should I be able to marry a woman? In retrospect, I don't think so. And I would like to vote to make it illegal. Yeah, I never thought I'd say this, but I just want the same rights as a gay guy. Sure, some of you are laughing, some of you are like, that makes sense. I hope this guy starts a religion. People go crazy over it, though, the gay marriage. Like, it doesn't affect you. If you don't like gay marriage, don't get gay married. Right? My brother's upset about it. He goes, oh, God damn it. Now they got the gay marriage. Government can force me to make a gay cake. No, Danny. No, if you're a company that makes cakes all day long and a gay couple comes in, you can't say no to them, okay? Nobody's gonna make you make a gay cake. Like he's gonna be sitting on the couch watching the Dodgers. This is a good game. Somebody's gonna break in. Hey, get up, make those squares a cake. I knew this would happen. I don't even know how to bake. But I had a friend come out to me recently. You ever have a friend come out to you? You gotta handle that right. And my friend who came out to me was a comedian, so I didn't handle it right. I thought he was kidding. I know him all my life, you know. I thought he was a joke. We go to lunch. I hadn't seen him in a few months, and I go, Howie, how you doing? You dating anybody? He goes, well, Jimmy, actually, I'm telling people now that I'm gay, and you're one of the people I wanted to tell. And so, again, I thought he was kidding. So I was like, oh, that's great, you're gay. After lunch, we go back to my place. You can help me decorate, and then we'll suck each other's cocks and stuff. I'm waiting for him to crack, you know? I just think he's just straight-facing it. I think he's just deadpanning the joke and committing to the joke, because the longer you commit to the joke, the funnier it is. And then like 3 months went by. And I saw him with his boyfriend, and I was like, either he's gay, or he is the funniest fucking guy I know. Then I saw his act, just kind of funny, but super gay. But we are growing, we're progressing. We realize that gay people are normal, and we don't use it as a slur anymore. Alec Baldwin got in trouble for that. Alec Baldwin, big, progressive, liberal guy, he still used the gay slur. There was a paparazzi who was pissing him off, and he called him a cocksucking faggot, right? Which you can't say, but he said he didn't say that. He said he called the guy cocksucking fathead. Which apparently the cocksucker part was okay. I guess cocksucker is, you know, gender neutral. But not the faggot part. So he said cocksucking fathead, which is totally believable. That he said that. No one swears like that. No one says a $5 swear word, meaty, sex swear word, and then follows it up with a cartoon swear word. Nobody says, you motherfucking fart snarkle. You pig fucking doo-doo head. If you have another one of those, shout it out. Because I need one more to make that bit perfect. But at least guys come out now. People feel comfortable enough in our society, they come out. They let you know they're gay. When I was younger, guys didn't come out. You know, you just kind of found out somehow, right? Like, one time, I was about 20, I just turned 21, and I was out drinking with a friend of mine, and I got pretty drunk, and he's like, Jimmy, you're drunk, don't drive home. Stay at my apartment, I live around the corner. I was like, okay. So I go back to his apartment, I get there, there's only one bed, I'm drunk, we're all men, I don't care, I hop in, right? I didn't even take my clothes off. I wake up in the morning, he's got his hand in my underwear, and I had a morning boner. I was afraid he thought I was digging it. So I didn't know how to handle it. I just did what any guy would have done. You know, I pretended I was asleep and let him jerk me off. I'm not gonna ruin a friendship. Plus, he bought a CD. But they still do, you know, we still, in parts of the country, not only do we persecute gay people, we prosecute them. Like in Texas a few years ago, they had a case where the cops arrested 2 gay guys for having sex, just for having sex. And they charged them with sodomy. Now, I always thought I knew what sodomy meant, right? Whenever I hear sodomy, I would always think, over here, back door. But I did a little research for the show. It turns out sodomy not only means anal sex, but it also means oral sex. Yeah. I didn't know that. Did you? Dumb family. Yes. It means anal sex and oral sex. Why? Those things aren't even close. Are you kidding me? Could you imagine if you hooked up with someone and they knew one definition of sodomy and you knew the other definition of sodomy? That can lead to a long night of apologies. Why did they do that? Why did they have one word to mean both things? Why does sodomy have to mean something fun that we all enjoy and then something that's just downright fantastic? Did not see that coming. So my oldest brother, David, works for White Castle. He worked for White Castle his whole life. He eats White Castle 3 meals a day, and he makes fun of me because I live in California. Every once in a while, I eat a salad. I get a call from him a few months ago. He goes, hey, Jimmy, I got back from the doctor. I just got back from the doctor, and it turns out I have prostate cancer. So the doctor told me I have to call my brothers and tell them to go get checked. And I was like, oh, David, sorry to hear that. So before I got checked, I went on the internet to look it up because that's always smart. And turns out if your dad has prostate cancer, it's a 50-50 chance that you'll get prostate cancer. But if your brother has prostate cancer, it's almost guaranteed that you'll get prostate cancer. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I'm going to get cancer because of my fucking brother, David. He's eating burgers, I'm eating lettuce, we're both getting ass cancer. Then about 2 weeks ago, I woke up in the morning, and I don't know how you guys wake up in the morning, but when I wake up, the minute my eyes open, all my problems come crashing down on me. So I wake up like this. There's all the shit I gotta do and all the shit I didn't do and all the stuff I know I'll never get to, and it's all on me. First thing in the morning, and then I gotta go to the bathroom. So I walk down the hall, all the problems on me, and I got my phone because God forbid I shit in peace. I gotta read the news. Oh, look, they cut someone's head off. Oh, that'll scare the shit right out of you. So I get finished going, and I go to flush the toilet, and it looked like, in the toilet, like someone had dumped like a keg of blood into the toilet. And I was like, oh, David. And I instantly knew that whatever was wrong with me inside was so messed up that I was a dead man, right? Because I know this is bad, and I'm not gonna get chemo. I'm one of those guys, I'll just die, you know? So I'm like, I'm dead, right? And I would think that would scare me, but it didn't. Like, I felt great. Like, all my problems, like, I don't have to do any of that shit. I didn't plan for retirement. I win. I'm not kidding, I felt light as a feather. I was like, oh, what should I do? Oh, maybe I'll call my wife and share the good news. Oh, no, I'll let her finish her day at work. I didn't know what to do with myself, right? Because I'm not going to go work. I'm not going to write my show. I'm not going to edit my show. I'm not going to do anything. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to achieve anymore. I don't have to arrive. I don't have to fucking do anything except plan my death. And I was happy. So I'm like, what am I going to do now? Oh, I know. I'll take Brownie for a walk. So I take Brownie for a walk, and for the first time in my life, I wasn't worrying about the future, and I wasn't regretting the past. I was in the present moment, and I was energized. I felt great, and I noticed things I'd never noticed before in my life. There's a bougainvillea in front of my house. I was walking down the street, I'm like, oh, that's why they call this Palm Terrace, because it's lined with palm trees. I never noticed. I felt great. I'm dying. No worries. So I get back to the house. I don't have anything to do, so I go online, and I'm like, let's look up what it means when you have a keg of blood in your toilet. I know what it means, but let's look it up. First two things that come up, yeah, you're dying. Yeah, great. And the third thing that came up was, hey, did you drink beet juice? Yes. I drank a 32-ounce beet juice the night before. So I'm not dying? I'm gonna live? Fuck. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out. Oh, God bless you. Thank you very much. Thanks, you guys. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming out. Good night, everybody.